Elon Musk, simply put, is an unpopular guy. He is political poison.
It was clearly a vote against what's going on right now in Washington.
Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, calling the Democratic brand absolutely toxic and really problematic. Have Democrats shown yet that they are giving voters anything to vote for, or is it simply just against Donald Trump?
So if there's one big lesson to take away from Wisconsin is Elon Musk does not help Republicans when he shows up. If anything, the data suggests that he hurts them.
Well, big news for Democrats. Judge Susan Crawford has won a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court despite big spending from Elon Musk. He shelled out $25 million to beat this liberal candidate, and he failed. Now, Musk found other cheesy ways to, try to corrupt the election's outcome. Get a load of this.
Musk also showed up in Wisconsin Sunday night, donned a cheese head hat, and offered two allegedly random voters $1 million each just for showing up. Still, Susan Crawford won a 10-year term in Wisconsin over her GOP rival, Brad Schimmel. This win enables the left to maintain a 4-3 majority in the swing state.
Now, despite Elon Musk's antics and despite the fact that, he was feeling real confident before the election took place, now that the election's over, he says, I totally expected to lose. I expected to throw away $25 million. He says, I expected to lose, but there is value to losing a piece for a positional gain. I mean, whose gain are we talking about? Because it's not your gain, and we're gonna get to that in just a minute, okay? But before we talk about the fate of Elon Musk, the Wisconsin Supreme Court election ended up being the most expensive court race in the United States, in US history, costing a whopping $100 million. And I am not talking about this as if it's a good thing. That is awful. Okay, that is absolutely awful. It's about double the amount of the second most expensive court race in the country. Now, Susan Crawford, a Dane County judge and former chief counsel to a Democratic governor, won the open seat, ensuring liberals will keep their 4-3 majority. She defeated Brad Schimmel, a Waukesha County judge and former Republican attorney general who, of course, embraced Trump. That's the reason why you had Elon Musk shelling out big bucks to essentially beat Crawford, but it didn't work. Now, Crawford won the race with 55% of the vote, and this was really seen as a referendum on the Trump administration. And remember, we covered a story just yesterday where two congressional Republicans spoke to Politico, and they were actually hoping for this outcome because it was their hope that the Trump administration would start to see Elon Musk as a bit of a liability and oust him from the White House. And we're gonna revisit that story in just a moment. But look, this is good news for Democrats, especially in the state of Wisconsin. Now, Crawford will be sworn in on August 1st, and between now and then, the court is in fact expected to decide whether abortion remains legal in their state. But did Crawford win because Wisconsinites really like her, or is this just about fighting back against the Trump administration? Is this just a referendum? Well, CNN actually asked a Democratic congressman, Mark Pocan, and let's see what he has to say.
Were people voting for Susan Crawford, or were they voting against the influence that Elon Musk was trying to put in this race?
But I think she'll even tell you, most people probably couldn't identify her if they were in line with her at a grocery store. That's just kind of the way it happens. But it was clearly a vote against what's going on right now in Washington.
And clearly, the voters who feel the most galvanized are going to show up to vote. And so it's definitely feasible that, or likely, that Trump supporters were not as galvanized and just didn't show up to vote. So I do see this as more of a referendum on the Trump administration. And by the way, Pocan, in what he was saying in that last clip, isn't wrong. In fact, if you look at the breakdown of Elon Musk's favorability among voters, you'll get a sense of what he means. Let's take a look.
Elon Musk spent big in this race to sway the Supreme Court race there, and he also went to Wisconsin, which may honestly have backfired.
Yeah, I think it may have backfired. Look, I think if there's one thing we should be taking away from the results in Wisconsin and the polling that we have from Wisconsin and national, if you are a Republican candidate running in a swing state, you don't want Elon Musk anywhere near you. Yes, maybe you like the money, but you do not want his presence in your state. Why is that? Elon Musk, simply put, is an unpopular guy. He is political poison. Look in Wisconsin, his net favorable rating, minus 12 points, 12 points underwater. That is an even worse number when you look nationally. Look at that. It's minus 17 points. So if there's one big lesson to take away from Wisconsin is Elon Musk does not help Republicans when he shows up. If anything, the data suggests that he hurts them. Republicans, stay clear of Elon Musk if you want to win in a swing state, at least in terms of his physical appearance in your state.
Yeah, definitely in terms of his physical appearance in your state. No, I loved everything about that segment. Harry Enten has really grown on me, to be honest with you. But the CNN host cracked me up because he's like, Elon Musk even went to Wisconsin. Can you believe it? It's like, okay, yeah, I can believe it. What's the big deal about him going to Wisconsin? Of course he's gonna go to Wisconsin if he cares enough about this race, and clearly he did, and I'm happy to see that he lost. Now, but this does beg an important question in regard to the fate of the Democratic Party. And more importantly, look, I don't care about the parties, to be honest with you, okay? I care about whether or not there are members of Congress, members of either party who are actually looking out for the American people, looking to do the right thing. And what I want to avoid, what I'm personally getting super black-pilled by, is this super annoying back and forth pendulum swing from one group of loser do-nothing politicians to another group of loser do-nothing politicians, because they feed off each other, right? What they do is they get elected, right? They say that they want to be public servants. They say they want to help the American people, but they get elected, they're in power. They do the opposite. Americans get mad, and then they vote in subsequent elections as a referendum to those who are in charge. And then the pendulum goes back and forth, not based on whether the politicians are actually gonna do something for you, but based on wanting to punish the politicians who are screwing you over. That's why we don't get anything done. So we need to break that cycle. And I feel that this last presidential election was a little bit of that breaking the cycle, right? Because voters were like, yeah, we don't like Trump, but we're not happy with the Democrats, so we're gonna stay home. That was one of the main reasons why Donald Trump won the last presidential election. So I think it's really important for Democrats to stop coasting, sitting back, playing dead, as James Carville said they should do, and allowing the Trump administration to, basically destroy themselves or destroy their favorability among the American people. So by default, Democrats will easily win again. I want them to do something. I want them to offer something. I want to hear what their ideas are. But if you listen to Pocan, it doesn't seem like they're thinking about new ideas. He acknowledges that this was a referendum on the Trump administration, but he acknowledges something else in this next clip that worries me. Take a look.
Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, calling the Democratic brand absolutely toxic and really problematic. Have Democrats shown yet that they are giving voters anything to vote for, or is it simply just against Donald Trump?
Well, we're going to make sure that Social Security doesn't get cut. We're going to protect Medicare and Medicaid. We're going to make sure that education is still funded, and we're not cutting things like food assistance or veterans hospital assistance. I mean, we're already having problems with people getting veterans hospital appointments because of the cuts by Donald Trump and Elon Musk. First of all, we're normal, right? We want to go back to normal, and I think that means something these days.
Normal is what got Trump elected. Normal is what led to Trump sweeping the swing states. No, I'm tired of normal. I don't know about you guys. Maybe you guys have had enough of Trump's second term where you're just like, okay, please, we'll go back to how awful things were prior to Trump getting elected. I don't want that. I'm sick of that. Okay, there are too many people suffering in this country for us to keep doing this pendulum swing with these self-interested, narcissistic politicians who don't want to do a damn thing for you, but for whatever reason want this position of power to benefit themselves, give themselves an ego boost. I don't know what it is. But Mark, don't ever repeat that phrase again. Ever, okay? Normal is not good enough. And Democrats right now need to be thinking about their long-term game plan. Who are we? What do we represent? What are we gonna offer to the American people that will make us appealing to voters? If they're planning on running a 2020 message of vote for us for normalcy, I can't stomach it. I can't stomach it. We are falling behind as a nation. Things are falling apart. And they really need to be asking themselves, how the hell did the guy who literally ran his whole campaign on tariffs beat us in the last election? So look, I don't mean to rain on the Democrats' parade. What happened in Wisconsin is great. But what happened in Wisconsin happened not for the right reasons. It happened as a referendum to Trump. It didn't happen because people are loving the Democrats. So Democrats need to get their act together. That's the point that I want to make about that. Now, let's talk a little bit about the money in the race, because I think that's super important here, because it's worth pointing out the insane amount of money and influence billionaires have over these elections, even court-related elections. So Crawford benefited from large donations to the state Democratic Party from liberal billionaires, 1.5 million from Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, 1 million from financier George Soros, and $250,000 from LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman. So look, there are billionaire donors on both sides of the political aisle, right? So we talked a little bit about Elon Musk. So Musk engaged in some antics that were concerning, to say the least, outside of the original, bribing politicians. So Musk posted on X that he would give $1 million prizes in appreciation for you taking the time to vote. After legal scholars questioned the plan, he deleted the message and posted another one saying his event was open to Wisconsin registered voters who signed a petition opposing activist judges. On Sunday, Musk said the PAC would pay people $20 for each picture they took with a voter holding a photo of Crawford's opponent, Schimmel, and giving a thumbs up, basically indicating that they're gonna vote for him and over Crawford. Now, there was some good news kind of in Florida, at least that's how Democrats are spinning it, because there were 2 House races. These were the special elections in Florida, and the Republicans won in each seat, okay, in each race. So for instance, Republican Randy Fine beat Josh Weil in Mike Waltz's former seat in the 6th district. And he did so by about 14 points. However, it's worth noting that Trump won it by 30 points. So Democrats are arguing, looks like Republicans are losing some favorability in these districts. Another example was Jimmy Pateronis, who won the seat, he's the Republican, he won the seat vacated by Matt Gaetz in Florida's 1st district. And in that race, he won over the Democrat by 15 points. However, Trump won by 37 points in that district. So there is a little bit of, I guess, positive movement in favor of Democrats when it comes to certain areas of the country. But I don't really know if it's about a referendum on Trump or if it's just that this was a special election, or these were special elections, and people who would typically vote for a Trump-backed candidate didn't show up to vote. Now, again, overall, this is good news, but it's not good news for Elon Musk, because apparently the results of the special election might mean that Musk has overstayed his welcome over at the White House. Now, there were 2 congressional Republicans who spoke to Politico and basically said they were hoping that there would be big wins for Democrats in these special elections, so there would be an attempt to oust Elon Musk from the White House. And it looks like that might be happening, although there are denials about it, and we'll get to the denials in just a second. So the president remains pleased with Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency initiative, but both men have decided in recent days that it will soon be time for Musk to return to his businesses and take on a supporting role, according to 3 Trump insiders who were granted anonymity to describe the evolving relationship. Now, Trump administration insiders and many outside allies have become frustrated with his unpredictability and increasingly view the billionaire Elon Musk as a political liability. Now, although one senior Trump advisor did tell Politico that Musk is likely to retain, like an informal role, like an advisor role with the administration, and will likely still be seen to some extent on the White House grounds, it does seem that the time is up for Musk in regard to like the more prominent role he's been playing with the Trump administration. And it's also important to mention that his leaving the White House in like a more outward facing position, I guess, is likely to correspond with the end of Musk's time as a special government employee. So you can be a special government employee for 130 days. Those 130 days are almost up. So it kind of corresponds with the timing of these special elections, and that could just be a coincidence. But Trump had already stated, or started, I should say, transitioning Elon Musk out of the White House. That was announced last week. He held a meeting with on March 24th with his cabinet members and essentially told them that Musk would be leaving soon. But Musk is in denial about this, and so is Karoline Leavitt, or at least she's pretending to not know anything about this and say that it's all false. So White House Press Secretary Leavitt writes that this scoop is garbage. Elon Musk and President Trump have both publicly stated that Elon will depart from public service as a special government employee when his incredible work at Doge is complete. And Elon Musk quote tweets it with, "Yeah, fake news." So it's probably just about saving face and giving Elon Musk an exit that isn't embarrassing, but he had fallen out of favor with quite a few Republicans, many of whom were too cowardly to come out publicly and instead would speak to Politico or other news outlets on an anonymous basis. But I do think that the Trump administration is finally waking up to the fact that Elon Musk is a political liability. So hopefully we'll see a little less of him, but we're gonna have to wait and see.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.